Gosh dang it. What? You haven't played... What? You haven't played Tumor Simulator? What? What? Must go. Moving on the night. Schmiert alle Zeit. Bling 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 blue. December 2022. Going down Dingle. My name is Cleveland Brown. My name is Quandale Dingle. Ring-a-ling-a-ting-a-ling-a-doo. Ring-a-ling-a-ding-a-ling-a-doo. Ring-a-ling-a-ding-a-ling-a-doo. Attention. Attention. Attention, I don't want to watch it again. There's no fire. That's racist. No, that's racist. No. Ring-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-doo. That's racist. Only you can start forest fires. Have you ever had a dream where you
The Aurora suffered orbital.
Hello everybody, it's Don here with another Dive in Minecraft video. And today we are gonna play Subnautica. Yeah bros. I'm gonna get that for my intro. Actually, this is called streaming, not a live stream. Like, nobody pays attention or watches. But, you know, that's a good thing though. Wanna know why? 'Cause I made it so. Hold on, I gotta check my channel. I don't know if that actually posted. Alright. Two weeks ago. My name is Cleveland Brown. I am proud to be in my new hometown with my new family, new friends and old friends, even a bad good times and bad times to share. And we found a place where everyone will go. This is the Cleveland. Shut up, Gary. Oh, Peter. Even a bear, it's good times. Not. I'm gonna watch a video because I want to listen to something besides water, because it's gonna make me go pee. It's gonna make me pee myself. And I don't want to pee myself.
Copper is an essential component of all.
That wouldn't be very. That wouldn't be very big chillin'. Hey, where'd you? Oh. That's not funny, no. Even a bear. I'm gonna stay away from over here. No, I'm gonna stay from everywhere. I'm gonna stay here and not complete the game. No, I won't. No, not gonna complete the game. No, I don't really feel like it. No, Nah. I don't want to do that. No, that doesn't sound fun. You like my pet fish? His name's Gary. He's a fish. He has a big eye. Ah. Sounds like looks like a skill issue to me.
Oxygen.
Oxygen. You're a skill issue. You're a skill issue. That's how I got my skill issues from you. Spectrum Mobile.
And now is the time to switch. Video by Whale Lol, where he builds the tallest base in Subnautica history. Hello, my friends, and welcome to another Subnautica. Hello, everyone. We're breaking records today, and not just any record, but one that's going to cost me literally all of my sanity. So you've seen these videos on YouTube, but recently I saw an incredible video by Whale Lol, where he builds the tallest base in Subnautica history. A video you should definitely check out, by the way. And that got me thinking, if that is the tallest base, what is the biggest base that has ever been built in Subnautica history? Looking back on YouTube, 2 years ago, Pab posted this base that takes you all the way from the lava zone to the surface in Subnautica, which is honestly quite insane. And again, Whale also posted a video which leads pretty much from the Aurora all the way down to the lava zones yet again, and both of these are super impressive to me, but I wanted more. I wanted to take a record of what's
New blueprint acquired.
ever. And so
I'm sorry, Gary.
today we'll be building
I want to eat you.
Common for those accustomed to synthetic foods to be repulsed by eating inanimate carcass. Remember that humans survived this way for millennia. You can too.
Oh, shut up.
The scanner
Let's just
can
get
be
to it.
used to
Now,
synthesize
before we go
blueprints
anywhere,
from
let's
salvage
first
technology
establish
and to record aliens' biological data. New
This
blueprint
is very
acquired.
important to discuss because Subnautica has many different definitions for what a biome is, and you can easily get into some weird technicalities where, for example, the observatory is technically a biome. Now, to make this simple, I went onto the wiki and I essentially decided to do all of the main biomes that are listed under the surface biomes category, both of the islands, and when it came to the cave biomes, I decided to do every one that isn't already covered in a different biome. So for example, the lava zone is very clearly its own cave biome, however something like the dune caves is already covered in the dunes biome, so I wouldn't be doing them separately. Also, I will not be doing the mini biomes such as the lava geyser because honestly, who cares? So, with the plan laid out, it was time to sit down, launch a creative, yes of course creative, Subnautica world, and just get started. Now, my first plan of action was to go through all of the biomes
Sorry,
I
I'm
was
right.
trying to build to, and place down beacons. My idea of this challenge would be to build an observatory in every single one of those biomes, so at the start,
Hey, bros. How are you guys?
look around the map, build these observatories, and place beacons under them. Now, to say that
So,
I completely underestimated
what
how
the,
many biomes
what the
there
heck
actually
are, what
would
the?
be a massive
Hey, bro, let me
underestimate,
scan you,
because
homie.
there are many. But, just
No, don't leave like my dad. No, please.
Field zone, fault zone, frag field, crash zone, crater edge, dunes, ground reef,
He was gonna leave me like my dad.
mushroom forest, safe shallows, sea treader's path, sparse reef, underwater islands, floating island, mountain island, deep
That's
zone,
racist.
inactive lava zone, jelly shroom cave, lava lakes, and the
Shrooms?
This is a lot. Just placing down the beacons took me about 40 minutes with all the teleportation around, which was not a good sign, given how long this would take. Of course, these were not going to be the final locations. of
Smoking
these
shrooms?
observatories, just more a reference. And also when building, I always try to get relatively close to the original observatory placement with the placement of the final one. Now looking around the map kind of now gives you an idea of how many different biomes there are, and the more I thought about it in the moment, the more it made me want to not attempt this at all. But nevertheless, I pushed through and decided to get started. Just to
And she gave a
Now,
birth to a
I decided
beautiful
start
baby.
at was the crash zone, and I decided to build all the way down to the north. My initial thinking was that I could kind of do a ring around the left side of the map, and eventually circle down the right side into the lava zones. Now my main tool would of course be the habitat builder, and the main building block I would be using was the glass compartment. This is just because I think they look nice, a bit nicer than the full regular compartments, and also because they're a relatively long block that is also very quick to build. The initial distance was just around 900 meters, which, you know, didn't seem that difficult to me, but I was very wrong. See, it took me a while to find a good strategy for building blocks, and moving sideways eventually turned out to be the easiest way. But even with that, once you start building in one direction, Subnautica pretty much just lets you build in a cross-shaped grid. So on many occasions, I would have to just build a left and right in a zigzag pattern, as opposed to being able to go diagonally. I would be using the vertical connectors to connect base pieces that needed to go up or down, and with this, you know, I started progressing pretty okay. It took a while, but eventually I reached
Crafting
this point, and at this
time!
point, I encountered one of my first problems. The massive lag. What you're seeing on video right now is not a problem with the recording software. This is actually how I saw the game. Every time I would build a space compartment, the game would lag out
Time to go home,
for 5
bronies.
seconds before completing the build. Now this was a massive problem because it was slowing
Sorry,
down the
not being out
slow
here.
process of building this massive snake-like base.
Hey.
Nevertheless, I pushed through.
Come here, you bladder.
Observatory in
may have
Norway.
unexpected applications.
Sorry, bro, had to grab my bladder.
Resources is a proven survival
I decided
strategy.
to call it a day, and the next day, resume building from there. My next target became the bulb zone, and luckily this one wasn't too far away, so I was just able to continue the build normally. The lag was still horrible, and I felt like it was getting worse and worse with
A
every
boomer.
speed. At this point, I had set
Sorry,
my settings
I don't want it.
always
I don't want a
to
boomer.
configuration, but it really didn't seem to do much when it came to this strange problem with building. Nevertheless, before
I
long,
don't carry
connected down
boomers.
the bulb zone.
I got my
Life
friend.
on this planet grows in unusually distinct
Got my
and diverse
peeper,
ecological
got my
environments.
bladderfish, and I got
Recommended.
And instead go to the safe shallows.
I don't know what. I don't know what fish this is. He looks cool though. He be my friend.
At least not at the start. This would eventually give me an idea of how to build this, but for now it made the building process easier. I built my way into a kelp forest without any major complications. I was actually able to build on the surface for a long time, or at least above water. From there, I made it to the grassy
Oh,
plateaus,
hoverfish,
and
okay.
then the first challenge would come, and that is the jelly shrimp caves. I wanted to get it while I was in the grassy plateau, since it happens to just have the entrance there. But what I didn't anticipate is just how narrow the entrance is. Now let me tell you, I wasted a lot of time here. More than I care to admit. My process was basically trying to build down into the cave and then build back up, but the grid system on which Subnautica lets you build bases was just not flexible enough to where I would be able to do this even with the smallest base pieces. As unfortunate
Here,
as it was,
Fabricator draws from available data to provide environment appropriate equipment using locally available materials. For your safety, this setting cannot be overridden.
Much larger and for
I
it to
don't-
be
I
much
don't
easier
care.
to build with. So before long, we had the observatory in the jelly shroom caves. Now, I then
Weapons were
returned to the
removed
grassy
from
plateau
standard
and
survival
actually built my way
blueprints
towards
following the
cave.
massacre
It's not a
on
complicated
Abraxas
build,
Prime.
but quite
The
far
knife
in a
remains
straight
the
line.
only exception. The fabricator cooks small
No.
organisms while disposing of the
No.
skeletal structure, bodily fluids, and internal organs, thus rendering them safe for human consumption. Consider disguising the flavor of unsavory meats with salt or locally sourced herbs and spices.
Complicated build, but quite far in a straight line. I think I get an idea of how far it went in some of these shots. I do also want to point out that if at some points you don't see the entire base, it's just because my settings were all the way down, so it's never really rendering more than like 15 pieces in every direction. But you'll see some cinematic shots at the end.
No, I would say
Scale of
watch
that
my
thing.
first
What you also
one,
probably
but
already noticed at this point is the game is moving very fast, and that's because I had set the game speed to be usually between 3 and 5 times normal. This was simply to make the process of building faster, because this was already taking forever. Building from the dunes became incredibly annoying after a while, so I decided to again take a break and start building out from the floating islands, because at least the area looks nice. So I did it, made my way all the way
bro.
down the mushroom forest, and then a massive problem came. And this was a big one. Remember when I mentioned that 4-directional grid in Subnautica? Well, this does not apply when you start building with free rotating buildings, such as the observatory, which can be placed at basically any height or orientation around the world. Now the problem was, I already had a build in the Mushroom Forest, and then I started another one in the floating islands. The problem was, when they met, they couldn't actually physically connect because they were at slightly different heights and slightly different orientations. And this is infuriating, because I had just spent over half an hour building my way over to this place, and now the base pieces are literally meters away from one another and cannot connect together. Now, in some of the other base builds I saw on YouTube, the way they get around this is essentially just putting them as close together as possible and then placing down hatches, but this didn't really feel right, since even if the bases couldn't connect physically, I wanted them to at least look connected as much as possible. Luckily then, a random stroke of genius came, and I found a way that is pretty much as good as it gets. If you actually build a moon pool, you can build from the bottom up into it using vertical connectors, which, while technically not connected, gets you pretty much about as close as you could physically get. And
Yeah, bro.
the amazing thing is, it also eliminates the problem of lag. See, for some reason, when a base just gets too long in Subnautica, the game will start lagging out, but if you interrupt this base with a moonpool connection like this, all of the lag is gone, and this would be a massive game changer going forward. Either way, with the mushroom first done, I built my way
360.
from the floating islands.
49.
Nothing particularly exciting there, but it was pretty fun to build the ending all the way up onto the surface. And then I returned back to the grassy plateaus, and having essentially done the entirety of one side of the map, I decided to finally start building towards the other half. Going down into the blood kelp zone actually wasn't that difficult at all. Now that I knew the trick with the moon pool, which allowed me to reorient and also remove lag, I was able to pretty easily navigate the cave system and get stuff hooked up. Now at this point I realized I was pretty close to the entrance to the Lost River, but instead of continuing down there, I figured it might be a better idea
Hello,
to
how you doing?
surface biomes and leave the trek down to the lava zone as the final thing. And so that's exactly what I did. I swam all the way back up, I swam over to the island, and started building out from there, since it was kind of
No, he's laughing at me.
biomes
That's not
that
funny.
on the right side of
That's
the
not
map.
funny,
First,
bro.
I built my way
Are
down
you
to the
serious
sparse
right now?
This was a pretty uneventful build and nothing really went wrong. And then I made my way over to the Grand Reef. And while I'm explaining this, I just want you all to understand
Waste of
that
space.
while here in the voiceover, I'm able to just
No.
say, yeah, I made my way over to this
No,
biome,
don't
this
pee
biome.
on me.
In reality, we're talking minutes and hours between the individual cuts, with me trying
He's
to
peeing on me.
just getting stuck on things.
No.
So it really was a grueling
Don't hit me with your bladder. With your massive sack.
From there, I went to the Sea Treader's Path. Now, yes, it could be argued that this isn't a real biome, since it's basically just a part of the Grand Reef, but it was listed among the surface biomes, so I figured, why the heck not? I was pretty close. Anyway, from the Grand Reef, I decided to go to the Deep Grand Reef. Again, it could be argued that this is technically a part of the Grand Reef. To me, the area feels distinct enough to where it warrants its own observatory, and also luckily the cave entrance is pretty big, so it wasn't really down there. From there, I decided to take the long straight to the crag field, and that was pretty much all of the surface biomes. I then quickly circled back and connected all of the remaining parts of the surface biomes that were built but technically not connected together, and then at last, it was time for the final trip down. This would be longer than I thought in my head. In my head, I was basically done at this point, but it would still be around like 2.5 hours at this point until I finished. But the process was relatively straightforward. I returned back to the blood kelp
I
zone,
love going into
started
people's
moving
holes.
into the Lost River from there. The annoying thing about the blood kelp zone is that it is quite a narrow biome, which led to a whole bunch of zigzag patterns, more than I care to admit. But before long, I finally saw the first green squares of the Lost River, which actually made me feel pretty motivated to finally be done with it. I continued building my way down, said hi to the Ghost Leviathan, went past the skull and in between their ribs, which was actually a pretty cool thread the needle moment. Of course, I connected to the observatory there, and continued making my way down, past the ghost tree, which was kind of fun to build over, and before long, well, okay, it took quite a while, but before too long, I was down in the lava corridor. I could practically smell the end by now, but these were some of the trickiest areas to navigate. Again, this biome is very narrow, and even with the trick of realigning using the moon pool, it still took quite a few zigzag patterns to make it all the way to the inactive lava zone.
Sing with me, sing.
Connected to the observatory
Say with me,
and that
say
was basically
boy,
it.
yeah.
I built down using the large crater-like entrance into the
Large.
lava. Build my way past the lava, decided to do one more moonful of realignment, had the game crash on me while saving, and lost about 20 minutes of progress, which definitely did not make me upset in any way whatsoever. Then, finally, the last base pieces were placed in the lava lakes, the observatory was placed, and that was it, my friends. You've just built a base that connects all biomes in Subnautica. Now, before you enjoy the nice cinematic shots and my kind of
Nine.
Continue to monitor for emergency transmissions from other life pods.
Alright, bro. Actually, there is no other life pods. I'm all by myself. I'm all by myself. Good times never seem so good. Sweet Caroline's a guy. Bum, bum, bum. Good times never seem so good. Say, I walk a lonely road, the only one that I have ever known. Don't know where it goes, but it's on me and I walk alone. I wanna be man cub. Let's go along to the town. It's actually not a necessity. Oh, women. Okay. Or am I? No, I am. Or is he? Stop! He's telling me to stop, and I'm not stopping. The Among Us potion. The Among Us potion. Among Us potion. Doing Among Us. Shut up, Misha. Please be quiet, bro. Only you can prevent forest fires. Hopefully we can end this off with a big bang. Bing bang fury. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Mystery and all started with the bang bang bang. Actually, it didn't know it didn't. Actually, it's called magnesium, not mag. I'm better. I'm faster. Sing with me, sing for ya, sing forever, sing poverty, ya. Stay with me, just for today. It tomorrow, we just gave it away. Ooh, let's.
As owner of Mint Mobile, I want to introduce our new family plan with
Ryan
a
Reynolds.
member of my family. My sister-in-law.
Only
Rob,
Ryan
my
Reynolds
in-law,
can prevent forest fires.
And unlike Big Wireless,
Android users, BlackBerry users, iPhone users, Nintendo DS users. Long ago, the four means of communications lived together in harmony. Then, everything changed when the iPhone niggas attacked. Only Tommy and FG, master of all communication elements, could stop them. But when the world needed him most, he vanished. 10 years passed, and me and the boys found Tommy as Avatar to Barnes & Noble's in the hentai section. And although his communication skills are amazing, he's got a lot of learning to do. But I believe Tommy can end this debate for good. For the longest time I can remember, iPhone and Android users have been at neck and neck. The story of these two sides is quite impeccable. World War I? Nah. World War II? Nah. The Great Ninja War? The true niggas know the war between iPhones versus Androids is way more important. Whether it's iPhone users making fun of Android users saying the same old shit, like seriously, it gets annoying at this point. Y'all have used these same fucking jokes for so long. Yo, your batteries fell out your phone, pick them up, dummy. Yo, your camera quality is complete dog shit. Yo, your emojis are cool as hell. It's just not funny anymore. But this definitely goes vice versa as well. Android users will always use the same jokes over and over again. Oh, well, actually, we already had that feature years ago. Y'all just got that? Your phone's about to die already? Of course it is. It's an iPhone. Haha, your phone's cracked so easily. Plain and simple, I hate this fucking debate and argument so much. It's so pointless and both sides are just extremely fucking annoying.
Freaking poopy
Growing
head.
up experiencing both sides was an utter pain in the ass. Well, actually, at first I had a DS, and you bet I was pulling all the bitches on Victo chat, but that's not the point. After that, I actually moved on to my first big boy phone, which was the Samsung S4. And I gotta say, for the time, this shit used to hit. There were so many damn phone features that they gave, which honestly I had no use having because I never used a single one of them. Like, what the hell is an NFC? Anyways, it was still a good phone. All I would do is play Subway Surfers 6 Clash Royale on it, and watch YouTube on it as well. Everything was A-okay. I mean, life was good, what can I say? Until the iPhone nigga showed up. The amount of slander I faced for having an Android phone in middle school was absolutely despicable. I'm surprised I didn't turn into a menace like Homelander. This was in the prime era of Vine 2, where King Batch and Jerry Perp drink feeding into racist stereotypes was popular, Light Pawns falling on her ass was still funny, and where hating on androids was at an all-time peak. So every day in and out I would be laughed at just for existing. I couldn't pull my phone out without being ready for an emergency roast session. They really had me with PTSD at a young age. Meanwhile, everyone was roasting me while having iPhone 5C. If you don't know what an iPhone 5C is, first off, good for you. Second off, all you need to know is that it's ass. And I faced this slander up until high school sophomore year where I still had an Android. Nah, I was not giving up on my Android. So I decided to make a change.
Samsung.
I went on and bought the
Samsung.
best Android phone I could
Get it
have
right.
at that time, which was honestly better and more expensive than anyone else's phone in my class. I mean, not to flex, but it was pretty good, come on now. It didn't matter though, because I still got roasted. The worst part too was that trying to get a girl's number was a complete pain in the ass. I always had to use Snapchat because the norm was at my school, if you had an Android that you're broken, you're probably living in a Section 8 housing. It was to the point where I had a phone case where you couldn't even tell it was an Android like that. So in my junior year, I made a change. I bought my first ever iPhone. I thought everything was good now that I had an iPhone, but then all of a sudden, people started to slander on iPhones now. Like there was no waiting for me. It was at the time when Apple got exposed for slowing down the iPhones. I saw memes about iPhone batteries being trash, or iPhone screen
Bro.
being you're broken, you're probably living. Come on now. It didn't matter though, because I still got roasted. The worst part too was that trying to first off, good for you. Second off, all you need to know is that I could have at that time, which was honestly better and more expensive than anyone else's phone in my class. I mean, not to flex, but it was pretty good, come on now. It didn't matter though, because I still got roasted. The worst part too was that trying to get a girl's number was a complete pain in the ass. I always had to use Snapchat because the norm was at my school, if you had an Android that you're broken, you're probably living in a Section 8 housing. It was to the point where I had a phone case where you couldn't even tell it was an Android like that. So in my junior year, I made a change. I bought my first ever iPhone. I thought everything was good now that I had an iPhone, but then all of a sudden, people started to slander on iPhones now. Like there was no waiting for me. It was at the time when Apple got exposed for slowing down the iPhone.
I'm going
I saw
home.
memes about iPhone batteries being trash, or iPhone screens always being cracked, and other memes making fun of Apple charging too much for their shit, which is honestly true. So it truly turned me into the man I am today, where I can safely say I hate both sides. I mean, the memes themselves are the fault people even acted like this. So I just wanted to break down how dumb all these memes were. Like, these memes were so fucking inaccurate. And as a little insecure teen, I took them to heart. First, we're gonna start off with the Android and the camera quality memes. This is the #1 thing I was made fun of on my Android. And I'm not gonna lie, I've kind of laughed at these in my lifetime. In fact, I was on my Android laughing at these camera quality memes, then crying myself to sleep. But it's the fact that people took it so serious which really bothers me. The meme genuinely led people to believe that Android cameras really like this. Every time I'd be successfully roasting someone at the lunch table, all a nigga had to say was, but you got an Android camera. Then it was pretty much over for me. My fate was already set in stone at that point. There was also those people who was explaining how Apple is superior in the camera world. That's masterful stick eating at its finest. But it was just the way that they actually compared the cameras that really got to me. Because the main comparison was saying that the Android cameras were worse on Snapchat. Like, yeah, no shit. The reason that's even a thing, by the way, is because Snapchat doesn't even use the Android cameras correctly. They just take a screen grab of your fucking camera. So it wasn't even my fault that I was getting made fun of. It was completely out of my control. Now, once they post the real camera apps, then it gets real silent. Because iPhone users always like to say that, but when you face real proof, you get get silent all of a sudden. And before anyone says I'm biased, literally look at my phone. I just need to mention that I've had an iPhone for years now. Next is those Android battery memes. I don't remember a time, truthfully, when I had an Android that my battery fell out and I had to scatter across the floor to pick it up. I'm sure it happens to people, but it's just one of those things that iPhone users always like to say. And honestly, if anything, this makes Android better. Because putting a battery in an Android is pretty damn simple. You just pop that bitch open and install it. Putting a battery in an iPhone is beyond a different story. Like, why is this shit so difficult? Not even Doctor Strange could get down to fixing an iPhone battery. I shouldn't have to do surgery to fix my damn phone battery. In fact, I'd rather break my phone into a million pieces and have to put it together like Legos every time than do surgery on my phone every time the battery breaks. And I definitely don't want to pay that $69 fee because I know I can just buy the battery for half the cost. But I won't go through that pain-piercing feeling of doing surgery on my phone. So I just have to pay that shit like it's a monopoly for them. Another argument they always bring up is that the emojis are goofy as hell. And man, I literally can't.
Is essential in construction of vehicles and power plants.
Yes.
Continued degradation.
Can you
of
bring me the plug-in for the laptop?
Continuing to
No.
monitor.
Yes, thank you.
Fluid intake immediately.
Yeah.
But that's because iPhones have all the good emojis. But Android emojis are pretty goofy as hell. We can give that one to the iPhones. Now let's talk about it reverse. Android users always talking shit on iPhone users. Android users, for some reason, always like to bring up that when iPhone releases a new feature that they already had it. iPhone cannot release one new feature without one mofo saying that Android already had it. But there's just one thing you really need to consider for a second. And that's, do we really give a fuck? Like, does anyone actually care that Apple releases a feature after Android already did it? I swear, this happens with literally anything that gets popular after the fact. The more they see people like a feature, the more they're going to want to add it. And to be honest, iPhone does the features better 99% of the time. There's a reason why they take their time releasing updates and changes. And experiencing those new features on my iPhone felt better than they did on my Android. Another thing Android users always complain about is the screen cracking. And it's something I can somewhat agree with, if you're a fucking dumbass. 99.9% of the time, iPhone users will crack screens, set it up upon themselves. They walk around with their phone with no case on it. Of course it's gonna crack when you drop it. But personally for me, I've never experienced this because I know how to take care of my damn phone myself. This argument never really made sense to me though, because Android literally experienced the exact same thing. If you drop it with no case, then it's going to most likely crack. In fact, what's worse is when you get these lines on it, because you can visibly see your phone and just not be able to do shit. I gotta give Android another L on this tape. And the last thing I always remember is hearing complaints about the battery, making fun of iPhone batteries for being trash. And I gotta be honest on this one, I'm gonna give it to Android users. iPhones have a good 6 months before the battery starts to give out. And it's not like the battery just up and dies. I'm talking about you charging your phone to 100% and it going to 1% in the next 30 minutes. If your iPhone's battery health is shit, then it's pretty much over for you. You might as well trash the phone at that point. So putting these points face to face, we've reached a tie between these two parties. And honestly, that's how it should be. Why do we put so much care into what fucking phone you use? They both do the same shit. There's rarely even big differences between them either. I think as a society, no matter what we get, there's always going to be arguments for zero reason. And this argument itself kind of proves it. We should stand on equal grounding and phones shouldn't be segregated. So stand with me, brothers. Raise your iPhone, Android, and anything above in the air because we are all equal at the end of it, except Windows phones. Who the fuck would buy a Windows phone? Anyways, that's going to be it. Follow my TikTok and my Instagram. As always, I love you guys consensually. And until next time,
don't go
I'm
home
out.
without us. Seriously. 3 out.
Signal location uploaded to PDA.
Big sack. I'm losing my mind. Da 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 da. I think I'm losing my life. No, gosh dang it! Ugh.
You always have the whole place to yourself.
It's all your fault.
Awkward. Or in another room taking up space. It's just...
Welcome back to another candy-ass video. Growing up, I always remember having school assemblies. And I feel like no matter what country you're from, every school has some type of school assembly, right? Whether it was elementary school or middle school or high school, they were always a thing I just remembered happening in school. And honestly, I kind of looked up to the days when they would happen.
This is Ozzy from the cafeteria. What the hell, guys? They didn't warn us this might happen. Our pod was almost crushed by the Seamoth Bay on the way down. Now we're hanging on the edge of a cave system, and this grim-looking snake thing's trying to eat through the hull. Come get us already.
Signal location uploaded to PDA.
Where's the charger? Because that laptop's gonna die.
Oh my gosh! It's gonna die! Oh my gosh! Oh, it's gonna die! Oh, oh. Well, where do you think you plug it, Goofy? Oh, Chrissy, Chrissy, Chrissy! Chrissy, Chrissy, Chrissy! Chrissy, 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 Chrissy! Quissy, Quissy, Quissy!
Seek fluid intake.
Mom! Come here! Good for you! Bro, the game didn't save. And then I had to restart.